launching it now, sharing it on Facebook.
So hang on, we're going to toss it over to Facebook here. You guys can talk, you know, just.
I'm practicing with the mute button.
Yeah.
Cool.
I have my dog with me, so I have to be quiet. He might be loud sometimes, so I might mute.
Can understand.
It's an echo. When I talk, I can hear myself on your computer now.
We can't hear the echo though, Jake.
Yeah, but I can. I won't know what I'm saying. You know when you, oh, there it goes. You can hear yourself echo on your phone, and you're like, I can't follow this conversation now, and I'm the one leading it.
All right, let's see. We've got a few people joining us here, so hang tight just a second. Get the chat box going here so I can see who's on and see who's joining us. Oh yeah, I can see Skylar's on. A few other people. The Hewitts are back. Hey, Steve, Martha, Paul Maynard, Nancy Gillis, thanks for joining us. Mike Wilkie again. Always nice to see our regulars that like to listen and watch in. We did take a break kind of last week because we ended up doing a Friday show for our industry wine awards, and so that was a pretty cool show. I don't know if anybody was able to tune in for that one over on Facebook Live, but it was a good one. We're going to end up featuring those winners actually in this format here next week while it's still topical. So we'll get to that. Waiting to see what we have going on over on the Facebook side of things. Make sure people are joining us over there. So give it another second.
I'm going to text it to a couple friends, see if I can get them to jump on.
Oh, and Steve and Martha, you guys voted today. Good on ya.
Is it ever going to cool off? You know, at least the mornings are cool now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so refreshing.
Leaves. When do
A second. Cool. We got a few many people joining us over there on Facebook land. So let's get rolling. So hey everyone, Chris Toronto with the Paso Robles Wine Country Alliance, coming at you with another Zoom hangout here on this beautiful Thursday in October, getting maybe close to the near end of harvest here locally, but we've got some really amazing days right now happening in Paso. Today's topic is an interesting one. This is a new one for us for our Zoom hangout. I thought it would be really appropriate for the month of October, and we're going to be talking a little bit about how our community here in Paso Robles Wine Country, and I think you probably all get like the community here really comes together for itself and for those within the wine community, but within the greater community. And here's another example of it when we're talking about the cancer support community and an event. Well, they do lots of events that often include the wine industry, but an event that is very much a part of wine country, Tour of Paso. So before we get into that, I want to give our panelists a quick moment to be able to introduce themselves and who they're with and anything else they want to share. So I'm going to start with Andy Niner from Niner Wine Estates.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I run Niner Wine Estates for my folks, and we are a winery on the west side of Paso that farms 3 different vineyards and makes wine, all 3. So it's good to be here. Thank you.
Right on. Thanks, Andy. Jake Beckett with Peachy Canyon Winery.
Hello. Hey, Chris. Thanks for having me too. My name's Jake. I'm here representing for Peachy Canyon Winery. We, like Andy, a family-owned company, along with my brother, my parents, and a really cool team. We're here on the west side of Paso. We have 5 different estate vineyards that we farm and specialize in Zinfandel. However, we've been gravitating towards Bordeaux and Rhones along with our Zins, and we've got a really cool team who's off to my right, just finishing up Crush. But yeah, I'm here from Peachy. Thanks for having me.
Right on. Cool. Joeli with the General Store. Hi.
Hi, Chris. Thanks for having me. We're part of we think of ourselves as a family business at General Store. Also, it's my partners, Jillian and Aaron and I. We've been on the park downtown. This will be our 8th Christmas. And I'm also a cancer survivor. Shannon was my mentor, continues to be. So I'm 10 years out as of this month.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. Cool. Shannon, last but not least.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Chris. And thanks to all you guys for being here to sharing this. But my name is Shannon D'Acquisto. I'm the executive director of the cancer support community here locally, California Central Coast. And we're based in Templeton, is our Central Coast location. And I'm just really proud to be here and share this opportunity with you guys. I myself am a 15-year cancer survivor and thrilled to be along for the ride.
Right on. Speaking of ride, that's exactly what we're doing here is we're talking about the Paso Robles Tour of Paso. I keep wanting to say Tour de Paso. Was it once called that or has it always been Tour of Paso?
You know, there's a debate there that I'm not really sure of, but it's possible it was called the Tour de Paso, but I've always known it as the Tour of Paso.
Okay, cool. Well, it's a bike ride, right? It's a bike ride that goes and raises money for the cancer support community. It is really well supported by our wine industry. I mean, this year, due to COVID and all, we can't exactly do it the way you normally do it, where we start and I think finish over at Niner, and we've got all kinds of other festivities that surround this thing. So it's kind of a different version. You want to talk a little bit about nuts and bolts of this ride and how it supports cancer support community?
Sure. So normally the way, like you mentioned, the way we do it, this is our 12th annual. Normally we launch from and return to and then party afterwards at Niner. Andy is generous enough to lend us the barrel room and pour wine for us at the venue. So that's the normal way we do it. And it's been a blast all the years that I've been. There's a 26-mile ride and a 50-mile ride that go through wine country. One of them, the longer ride, turns up out 46, up Vineyard, and then up around through like Justin, Adelaide, comes back around down Vine Street and Paso, and then goes back to the east side out towards Pomar Junction. So that's the longer 50-mile ride. And then the 26-mile ride, it launches in Templeton and then goes out, mostly goes out Vineyard Drive towards the east, crosses over the freeway in downtown Templeton, and then goes out and makes a loop around Lupin and Pomar Junction and comes back around that way. Comes also back, returns back on Vineyard Drive as well. So, and then up Bethel. So that's the 26.
Those aren't easy rides, by the way, everyone watching. Those are not like those. There's a lot of climbing.
Better than the inaugural year.
Was that bad?
Well, people were just falling over because they couldn't get their feet out of the stirrups, and that hill just, they bonked halfway up it. And I think even Justin wiped out, and that's when they decided, let's not go this route anymore.
That is good to know. See, Jake has historical perspective that I don't even know about. I've only been a part of this ride for about 8 or 9 years. And so the first couple of years, I don't know anything about.
Lucky you.
Right.
When did you first ride in it, Jake?
Yeah, I think I right around when Shannon came on. I was trying to think. I wasn't in the one, the infamous one. I just heard all about it. But I think this might be my 8th or 9th one, something like that. They're always there. You would think I would know every single one of them because motorcycles are the 2-wheeled instruments of my pleasure. And the only time I ride a pedal bike on the road is this time, and I do the 50 miler every year, and then I can't walk for a few days, and I'm back.
Well, there's that option too.
Now, Shannon, is it always this time of year, or is it always in October?
No, it's almost always in March. We
Okay.
we follow the Wine Country Alliance's calendar. I think you guys do something the third weekend of March, and so we follow it traditionally the fourth weekend in March. So Chris, if you know what you guys have in March, I would love to share that. I don't know what it is though. Is it Zinfest?
Yeah, it's Zinfest.
It's Zinfest.
March, yeah.
I got that right. So Zinfest is always the third weekend in March, and then we follow with the fourth weekend is usually our ride. So we obviously would have been right after COVID this year. I think we went on COVID lockdown like on the 20th, and I think our ride was supposed to be like March 28th. So Andy and I have been working delicately to try and figure out dates throughout the rest of the year, and we landed on November the 1st. And then so that's where we're going to.
Yeah. And Andy, you've been a part of this for a little while. What does it mean to be a part of this, the cancer support community, and support this ride to you?
So I wasn't around from the beginning. It was something my parents got involved with, I think, pretty early on. And then for me personally, I think it's more about the group of people that gets together every year. And it just seems like a really awesome group of people that are both very into the cause and also into biking. So for us, that's a cool thing to be a part of.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is a great group. How many teams do you typically have, Shannon?
I think we usually have about 12 teams, and then we have about 25 or 30 other cyclists that ride on their own. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we usually have some sponsorship teams that bring anywhere from 2 to 10 riders. 10 is probably our largest team. And then, our smaller teams are, 2, 3, 4 riders. Peachy Canyon notoriously has a pocket full of riders on their team. We have a couple of other great sponsors that support us and bring us riders as well.
Yeah, I know I've read a little bit about some of the wineries like Saxum and Turtle Rock and a few other brands who like to put together teams and make a presence as a part of this ride. So it's pretty cool. How does it actually make cancer support community money? Like what's the mechanism there?
So just like any fundraiser in nonprofit land, we make the bulk of our money from sponsors, people who sponsor to either be on the jersey or on the flyers or on the website or all of the above, also on the t-shirt. So we get that. And then also this ride is unique in our fold for us because we also the riders have a minimum fundraising requirement. And so the minimum fundraising requirement is on top of the registration. But most people who ride our ride don't just raise the minimum. They really work hard at it. And, we've had, I think we had a team last year that raised like $12,000. And that bulk of that was raised by a single person. So people just really get in the spirit of raising money for the cause.
Yeah. Joeli, talk a little bit about your involvement, not only with cancer support community in general, but when it comes to this ride and what it means to you.
Well, I will not be doing the ride. So I'm just kidding. I am not, but my husband's going to do it. Skylar is going to do it. Skylar Stuck, who I just saw popped on to Facebook Live. Cycling is a big deal in our family. We actually just got a tandem at the beginning of COVID. So hopefully my husband and I maybe we'll try it on the tandem next year. Who knows? But it's a great event. I think part of what's beautiful about it is cycling in Paso Robles is one of those things it's just a beautiful way to see the landscape, to really know how beautiful it is above and beyond even the vineyards. So I love that people get to see it that way. For me personally, anything that supports the cancer support community is really important to me. And without getting overly gushy about Shannon, when you get diagnosed, it's a very well-known disease, obviously, but there's still just this kind of numbness, and it's so powerful to be able to talk to somebody right away. And that, I believe, is what, for a smaller town or community, that for the Central Coast, I mean, I say smaller relative to like a big city, it's ridiculous how many resources I felt I had, even beyond my friends in the Bay Area who, you know, could have, I would have thought would have had access to a lot more. Just having this group of people I could go into this office and talk to. And it also really was a huge relief for my support system, my family, my friends. It gave them a little bit of a break because I was able to talk to other people. So there's so many different ways that it has impacted my life. So anything that we can do at General Store, or me personally, I'm always so happy to support cancer support community here.
Yeah, and it is a really great support community. I know that for me, for a little while there, my mom was using it as well. And she found some really good support and some other resources that she was able actually to tap into beyond that, like the wellness kitchen and the like. It was really something that was excellent for her. So I think we were going to show maybe a jersey that kind of helps to show where the sponsors are. And well, that's beautiful.
There's Heart Hill right there. Woo woo.
Yeah,
so
over there where Niner is.
Peachy Canyon's logo there on the side. Tom Schultz and Laura Coates, also big donors and founders. As is Peachy and Niner, both are founders of ours. The back also has a sponsor. Rancho Grande Motors. Is it backwards? Is it really backwards, or is it just me?
No, it's just you. We can see it.
You guys can see it, right? Okay. So yeah, so the jersey this year, these are all locally made by Volet, which is a big jersey manufacturer that's actually out of Grover Beach. They give us a great deal, and they let us put local art or local photos on. So we honored Heart Hill this year and put their obviously the Heart Hill Niners. Oh, and here's Niner on the shoulder too. Well,
yeah.
So
who's the biggest team this year? Who?
The biggest team right now, it might be Paso Bike Tours. I think they have 9. Radiology Associates, I think, has 5 or 6. Peachy has 5 or 6. I think we got a 6th today.
Yeah, we have with Josh and Pete coming on. Did you see?
Yep.
Yes, there's 6. And did you say a 7? Shannon, Boston. So 7 on our team.
Okay, so 7. And then I always count your parents honorarily.
9.
So they're at 9. So I think Peachy's ahead right now.
We actually have a really a legitimate rider on our team this year who's qualified for the Olympics back in the day.
Wow.
And new to Paso, relatively new. He's from down south. He happens to be one of my neighbors. His name is Udo Schartz. And he'll be jumping on the team. I saw him training this morning. I'm like, oh, he's serious.
That's awesome.
Stefan or whoever is going to be out there hammering, I got one for you.
Yeah.
That's right. Stefan's an awesome rider, right? Yeah. So love it. Yeah.
And there's a possibility too that we could get another professional rider as well who does a lot of training here locally. So I'm not at liberty to say her name, but there is a possibility she will be joining us as well. Game on.
Gauntlet thrown. I'm letting them know.
Right?
That's cool. That's really cool. Shannon, so talk a little bit about the programs that some of this funding that you're raising, or some of these funds that you're raising goes into at the cancer support community.
So like a lot of what you guys have shared, like when your mom was with us, she, came to educational classes. And like Joeli mentioned, we have support for the whole family. So, and whether it's individual support with a therapist or a support group or a social event or an education, we also have exercise classes that are right now online. Like we have a wonderful Tai Chi class that happens weekly. We have what used to be a weekly yoga class, but is right now once a month. We sponsor Cancer WellFit that happens out at the Paso Robles Sports Club, where the trainers work specifically with cancer patients at getting their exercise and their strength back after treatment. So those are small group exercise classes that are entirely the trainer who works with them is specifically trained in cancer recovery. And those are totally free for the participants. Everything that we offer is totally free for the participants. So a lot of what we're doing currently because of COVID is online, but back in the day, obviously we did a lot of stuff in person. Coming as we start to open up here, we're going to probably do a lot of hybrid alternative options, things where people can come into the office if they're interested in being in person, obviously safe spaced and hand washed and all the accoutrements that we now have. But they'll also be an online version via Zoom as well. So we're going to try and incorporate the two and really truly do a hybrid model moving forward.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Jake, talk a little bit about why, from your end, the cancer support community is so important for our greater wine community and greater community in Paso.
Oh, right. Well, I mean, I think I'm going to be just sort of mirroring what other people have said. It's just, kind of shows how this community is pretty tight. We stick together. We look for ways to support each other in ways that are more accessible, like outside of the direct family, like Joeli was saying. And it's just a testament to what we're all about here. And we're all about the community, and it's not just an individual who can climb to the top type of population around here. I think we all care about each other, and this is a way of showing it, being personally attached to it, with my mom being a 3-time survivor. It makes sense to me. I've watched it benefit her, and without, I'd like to say I would just be doing it anyway, but it definitely, when you have somebody that you're connected to, it reinforces, like, this is what it means to other people too. So for me, I learned a lot from it, and I want to keep doing it. My mom is a survivor, and but we'll be a part of it regardless, because we want to make sure that other people have access to the cancer support community, and they don't have to go through it alone, which is one of the mantras. This year is a crazy connection. One of my employee coworkers who just started her battle. It's a private one, just between us and that family. So I'm not saying names, but this is dedicated to that person this year. So we're going to come out and let them know that we're all, you're in it, but we got your back. We're in it together. So yeah, I mean, it's very dynamic and complex, and it means a lot to a lot of different people in a lot of different ways. And our one connection obviously is cancer, and it sucks, but it's good to go through it together and support each other. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I remember your mom actually talking to my mom about it. And I mean, it came from a couple different avenues of support and steering her towards the cancer support community. Your mom, my wife, Shannon's friend as well, was also majorly pushing my mom into recognizing and using some of the support services that exist there. And then here's an interesting thing too, is that a former coworker, colleague of mine, Candace Sanders, she went through her battle and found a lot of support at the cancer support community. And actually, between her and my wife helped create the idea of this show, by the way. Also, since October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and I know that means a lot to my wife since she lost her mom at a young age to breast cancer. And so, yeah, it touches all of us in a really just crazy, interesting, and weird way that nobody really wants to be a part of this club, but we're all somehow a part of this club. So, but interesting stuff. Hey, so Joeli, let's talk though a little bit about, I want to sort of switch gears but yet still keep talking about what we're talking about. But can you talk a little bit about General Store though? Tell us what it is. What does it look like inside? Why are we going to General Store?
Well, first of all, I just unmuted myself because my dog is taking a nap right next to me, and he sounds like the grumpiest old man, and he's making these deep guttural sounds. So those are not coming from me. If you hear that, that is Bodhi down at my feet. And I also want to say, before I talk about General Store, that one of my favorite memories, if you can have favorite memories of your cancer journey, which I have several, one of them is accosting Shannon in her driveway when I was first diagnosed, and someone said, you need to talk to her. And so I followed her home from drop off at school and pulled up to her house and just got out of the car and said, can I talk to you? I'm sure she was like, are you following me? One of my other favorite memories is Skylar Stuck, who works with you, Jake, and shaved his head with me.
Oh.
Bless you, Skylar. He looked really good, actually, way better than I did, which kind of made me mad. But anyway, so General Store, actually, I don't know if General Store would be here if it wasn't in part because of my cancer journey. Jillian and Erin, my partners, truly are sisters to me. I'm not going to get emotional. This isn't even actually really wine in this goblet I'm drinking from, but it was during that experience and them supporting me that I realized I wanted to do something truly, truly in my heart that spoke to me for my work. And they wanted to also. So we all kind of like decided to do this thing. And if you come into General Store, what we would want you to, okay, you're going to see things, and no, it's not Rose Apothecary from Schitt's Creek, which we are quite flattered when people say that, but we were here first before David opened his store. But really, we want everyone to feel welcome, everyone to feel that sense of you are welcome here. And we think that Paso has that's kind of what I love about Paso as a wine region. It doesn't feel pretentious at all to me. Our customers, some of the most celebrated winemakers in this county, walk in jeans and a t-shirt, just fresh off the tractor. But you're going to find a little bit of everything. It's general for a reason. We bring in things that we love. Our mission is to bring in things that are lovely, tasty, or useful. So a lot of that is local. That's our big focus. But we also bring in things from out of the area. And it's just a joy. We love our team. We love being downtown on the park. And we love it when our friends like Shannon come shop. And it's been a true joy. But I do think it was partly born of my cancer experience.
Yeah. And I'll tell everybody the General Store, all of the local products that you can find there are, I mean, just about as local and genuine as you can be, from a lot of artisan craft people making everything from cheeses to cocktail mixers and all kinds of other things. But the greatest thing that I absolutely appreciate from the General Store, two things, is I always get my wife something last minute there, because there's always something I can get last minute there, because I really suck at shopping.
No, you don't. You don't.
Also, the gift baskets that you guys do, especially during the holidays, and like order them early, because you guys do a phenomenal job with those. You ship them out and all that kind of stuff. And so those things are amazing.
Well, I have to say that one thing, Chris, that's changed for us is when we first opened, people would say, we want to put together a local gift pack. And we would say, oh, great. We have 7 awesome things. And 8 years later, I really think our biggest challenge is finding a container big enough to contain it all, because we are so blessed with creativity in this community. We have people making, we counted one day, it was like 20 different makers within the Paso city limits who are making things for us. That's a lot of creativity and entrepreneurship. And so for us, it's really exciting to be able to connect those people in an easy way. They don't all want to have a storefront, but so we're open for them. But yeah, for cocktail mixers, bath and body stuff, I mean, just like really, we're just really lucky.
Yeah. One thing though is not wine though, right? Make that clear.
We do not sell wine. We drink wine, but we do not sell it.
That's what Jake and Andy are all about. Andy, why don't you take a minute to talk a little bit more about Niner Wine Estates, and not only that, but I mean, you're being some of the food for this. Normally, and I've attended one of the end ceremonies there for the Tour of Paso. The food is phenomenal over at Niner Wine Estates. Can you talk a little bit about your wine and food program?
Yeah, sure. So this year we're going to be making to-go lunches given the format of the race. So it'll be sandwiches and potato salad and stuff that works for that format. But generally, we host it in a winery where we make Pinot on the property. It's a little building with 9 open top tanks, and it's perfect for Pinot. So we're using that this year. So unfortunately, we can't host the race. But we generally set up a buffet. So everyone, and I always hack that word. I know that was a bad pronunciation. But we set up a huge spread, and then everyone comes back from the ride and just hangs out. And for those of you that do kind of Thanksgiving runs or rides, there's just a really awesome, almost euphoric feel after you do one of those. So it's a good environment where everyone sits around and eats and drinks and hangs out and eats food.
Yeah, that's great.
So
you're open for lunch though right now, right?
Yeah, so we do lunch from 10 to 5. So if you're hungry at 10 in the morning and you're up for lunch food, we do it at 10 and then all the way through 5. And we try and do a good job. Like, we are constantly reinventing it, and we have a chef's garden where we pull a lot of vegetables out of. And then after that, we try and look locally to folks that do a really good job. And we're fortunate that we live where we do, because you can really pull some amazing product from around here. So we try and feature that and do it justice, and then serve it with wine.
Do you pair the wines with your menu items?
Yeah, we do. If folks want that, a lot of, like, we went into it thinking the food and wine pairing would be, everyone would want that. And I think we can definitely do that if you're interested, but a lot of people just want to come out, not be told what to drink with their food, and just hang out. So we do that too.
Yeah, and it is a great place right there at the base of Hart Hill, by the way. So that great picture that was on that jersey, it is quite the majestic and romantic, if you will, place to sit and have a wonderful meal and taste some really good Paso Robles wines, as well as other regions, but really good Paso wines as well. We won't mention the other regions.
Yeah, it's not the one you drink every time.
No, not at all. I don't like that stuff. Hey, we had a question about donations to the cancer support community. Let's just say you can't ride, or let's just say you from afar would love to donate something to the cancer support community. How does one do that?
So you can just go to our website. Obviously, you can go to the general website, which is cscslo.org. There's an easy donate button in the top right corner on every page. Or you can go to the specific ride website, which is tourofpaso.org.
Nope, she got sticky.
Road, Shannon.
And you can donate either to a specific team or what's up? Am I stuck?
Yeah, you were stuck there for a second. So what she was saying is that you can donate to tourofpaso.org, and that you can also designate funds to potentially go to specific teams even. So that way you're trying to support, right? So.
Yep.
And then we have a comment coming in from over on the Facebook side of things. And do you sell those jerseys by any chance? Just if somebody wanted a jersey?
We can order them from Volet. Yes, we can, if they want to call our office.
Yeah. Because the comment was, it would be neat if you could walk into a general store, let's just say, and purchase one or something like that. So there's an interesting idea there.
That could be good.
From the gallery. So, hey, Jake, let's talk a little bit about Peachy Canyon Wines. I'm curious, because you're such a big sponsor and been a part of this and part of the ride and everything, is there a wine by any chance, maybe this is to all of you, maybe Shannon, dedicated to this ride? Is there one that's like...
The wine I pulled today for fun is the Vortex. And the reason I pulled this is because we're going to be riding through the so-called Vortex throughout this route. And that name came from, it was almost like situational. When we used to go over to, it's a Zinfandel, by the way. It's a Zin from the Willow Creek, Adelaida, and Templeton Gap districts. but the name Vortex comes from us going to visit, Richie Rich over at Midnight Cellars and succumbing to what we called the vortex and not being able to get back out once the first, at that time, Coors Light was cracked. So that was the original Vortex, but we love the name. And so, I mean, for me, the Tour of Paso wine and this year is the Vortex, So we're all going to get sucked into it, and we're all going to go through it together.
Cool. Now, hey, you've had, there's been some interesting changes lately over at Peachy Canyon. You and Josh have kind of taken over the reins there. Your dad is kind of retired. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
So Peachy's been around for 30 plus years, and in April 2019 they handed over the reins after several years of my brother and I both working here and branching off and doing the Chronic Cellars project, and then coming back. But yeah, 2019. So we're about a year and a half into it. Actually, this month we're about a year and a half into moving over here. I do the kind of general management side along here with Skylar Stuck and our small group here in the office. And then my brother is back in the production side as the head winemaker, which is really cool. And I think it's just important for the brands and the Paso Robles style, the family brands and small businesses. And so for me, it's definitely easier to sell wine when I get to say my brother makes it and we do it together. But yeah, it's us, and along with our crew, we have an amazing crew at the tasting room and winery. And actually too, I just put my eldest son on payroll. So he's bussing tables at the tasting room now and murdering rabbits and squirrels in the vineyards. So I guess they call that vertebrate pest management child. He's legal. He's a teenager. It's fine. So yeah, it's cool. He's the third generation, which is really neat. And just to be a part of it, every year, it gets more important the older I get, as far as Paso community we're talking about and cancer support and being able to be a part of any type of industry for multiple generations is pretty neat. You just don't. The more I realize just how unique it is, the more I enjoy it. And so, yeah, we're here, we're doing it. Hopefully I can stick around and one of our kids wants to be a part of it at some point as, their way of life. And that'd be really neat if they do. I think my parents are enjoying their time together now in retirement, but they're still busy as ever. Mom's still doing dance studio stuff always. And my dad's on a new adventure right now. And he's actually part of the downtown. He's Joeli's neighbor now. I don't know if you know that, but he has a small art gallery across the street from Spearhead Coffee now.
Oh, so that's wonderful. I didn't realize that.
It's all Brian Benson art. It's really interesting stuff. So it's just now kind of starting to get going. They're still figuring out how they're going to exist in this new world. And, timing's a little interesting right now, but so yeah. So, I mean, my parents, they're still business people, always will be, but yeah, Peachy Canyon is a really cool, just family business to be a part of. I enjoy it. I like making Skylar. It's nice having Skylar on the team here. He's been pushing us to look into other varietals from a little different perspective, and that's helping open our eyes to some other stuff, because we are always just the Zin guys, doing Zins. So I'm still learning new things every day, and I love it. I get to do stuff like this, be a part of this community and go ride a bike for a day with a bunch of friends and people that are part of this in one way, shape, or form. So yeah, we're stoked. We're here to stay.
Cool. I'm really curious though about how you are branching out from just being known as a Zin house. Not that you're always been making Zin. How's that coming about? Like you're saying Skylar, but also, I mean, you guys had the Chronic Cellars for a while, and it wasn't just solely Zin. There was plenty of blends. Is that partly inspired from that?
It was mostly not Zin. I think that was why we did Chronic, was to do something else. But then when we came back, we kind of sort of, I guess, mentally just shifted gears back into, the way we had always done it. We had Chronic was a lot of interesting Bordeaux and Rhone blends and mixes of the two with little twists here and there. the ranch that I'm at right now has 35 acres of head trained dry farm fruit, and the majority of it is Bordeaux's and Rhones, and it's like, and they're amazing. And we have a really nice GSM that comes off the hills behind me, and we've got a great just solo petite Syrah. We grow some Carignan and Counoise, and we have a pretty dynamic portfolio of great varietals here. And so I guess it's just taking time to get to this point. But so, yeah, I mean, I think Skylar just reminds us that we have some other things to bring to the table, and it's important to, not have all our eggs in one basket, and sort of spread out a little bit, even if it's just, a couple cases here and there, but just to let people know that we are a dynamic company, and my brother and his team can work with other varietals, and we'll always be like, Zin will be our foundation, but there's definitely other wines that we're mixing it up now with it. In particular, our Petite and our GSM. They're just nice wines, and these hills do really well out here. We have some special soils and some good terroir, and we're using them, and we're taking it out, and not just taking it to the tasting room. In fact, Sky and I are going to take it tomorrow to do a distance tasting with our local distributor J&L, and show Lorraine Albin's team, that we got some other stuff in our quiver, and that we think that they might find it interesting. So yeah, so we're doing it. We're playing with some other stuff, and I like them. I don't know. Come try them. We're open every day.
All right. Well, I know that Vortex is really good, and I am fully practiced in falling into Richie's Vortex as well. So
yeah.
So awesome.
Drivers.
Yeah, you need that. Shannon, there are other ways though that you end up partnering with the wine community here. I know that there's that one event, the roast, and a few other things, but can you talk a little bit about some of those other events?
Sure. I'll actually share one that I had Candace grab for me. This is just a shout out to Peachy. This was done by Doug and Jake and Josh back in the day. They made a wine for us and donated shiners to us, and created our own label to put on, and it became a fundraiser for us in the past. So that was probably an early version of a way that we partnered with the wine industry in this local area. We also do a number of other things, like we're doing Pink Local right now, which is in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and quite a few wineries have partnered to do, a percentage of pink wines or cases of pink wine, or pink. I think Peachy's doing like Pink Fridays. So quite a few organizations are participating in that as well. We also have the roast, which is annually. Unfortunately, 2020's roast was canceled, but that's always a fun event. We've roasted a number of wine industry people. Last year was Austin Hope. This year was supposed to be, I forget now. So I'm fired for that. It was Amy Butler. Yeah, so we were going to roast Amy Butler this year, but we're going to roast her next year instead. So that's always an annual event that goes on at Terra Mia. It's a little bit of salty fun, and the wine industry does a great job embracing us. That usually is a fall event for us. Lots of great wines are poured, lots of great local wines are donated for the cause, and lots of great support we get from the industry locally. Yeah. And then our gala as well is another big fundraiser for us that is really, really well supported by the Paso Robles wine industry. Usually we hold it in person out at Rava, and it happens in August. It's usually the third Saturday in August. And this year we did it virtually, but the Becketts were kind enough to generously contribute to that again this year. So there's just, a lot of ways that we connect with the wine industry here locally. And we're just super proud of our local community. And then obviously Joeli at the general store, and lots of other great businesses outside of the wine industry, but really close to the wine industry's heart, the downtown association, things like that. We really just are so proud of our community, and so proud of the support that we get here locally.
Yeah, it's so interwoven too throughout. because there are so many businesses. I mean, I'm looking at people who are also part of so many other things in our community, or have spouses that are part of other things, or, parents and everything. I mean, everybody has some other tie somehow into so much more in this wine community. I wanted to mention that with that roast. So it's a roast. It's what you think of as a roast. A bunch of people get up and make fun of you. And as the honoree, you're like there for it and taking it, right? And so we've had people like Gary Eberly get roasted, I believe. I think Stefano Seo from La Ventura was one. And wasn't John Munch also? Was he? Is that right? John Munch of Cuvier, and the guy, he himself, probably the sharpest wit and sharpest tongue of our region, if anything, as long as you understand those really big words that he uses, is by far probably one of the coolest ones, and I'm bummed I missed that one. But Terra Mia is a really neat venue for locally for stuff like this, like outdoors, gala type of things, beautiful wine country, olive trees, little pond, all that kind of stuff. So it's a pretty neat spot. And then you had mentioned the gala that happens over at Rava Wines. Rava, of course, is they've been on the show. They specialize in sparkling wines, and they're also basically a place where you can have your sparkling wines made for you as another producer, where you can bring in your still wine and then they can take it to the next level there. But they have a beautiful, huge venue space with a really cool Mediterranean environment outside. And so people can find out more about these, and we can hopefully be doing these events like we've been doing in the past here in the future, but they can find that out over on your website, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. cscslo.org. We have a drop-down tab that has all of our fundraisers on it, and all the dates and everything.
Excellent. I want to make sure before we're signing off here, which is actually, believe it or not, coming up here pretty soon, but I want to give everybody an opportunity to talk a little bit about what they've got coming up next. I'm going to start with Jake, because Jake, you've got something coming up like this afternoon at 4 o'clock, don't you?
That's tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow.
Yeah, tune into Palate Wrap. I think we're on at 4 o'clock. My brother and I do a little show called Palate Wrap, where lately we've been going over our fall wine club wines.
Okay.
But, yeah. So
how does somebody tune in?
Oh God, you're putting me on the spot. I don't even know how to do Instagram.
Skylar's right there.
Hi, how do they tune in? I think we definitely posted on our website a link to the show. It's live on Instagram. It's a Zoom show that they usually tune in live on Instagram, and then play it later on our YouTube channel. But there's a Zoom link, and I believe Susie posted it. And Susie is my right-hand person here that usually helps me with everything. And she's also a Girl Scout mom, and she's hosting the girls at our tasting room right now. And so I'll let you know later, Chris, and you can post it for me.
Okay, right on. We'll share it. Watch our website watch our Instagram, or watch our Facebook. And I'm sure we're going to be sharing the fact that you guys are going to be on probably in our stories. But I'm sure if you go to the Peachy Canyon's website, you're going to be able to find it, or if you're following them on social media. Andy Niner, you're up next. Do you have anything coming up anytime soon? I know you guys are really busy, but what do you have going on?
Yeah, we're just sticking with normal service for now. I think the big thing we have coming up is we're taking 4 days out of our normal schedule in the middle of November to show the wine club that we appreciate them. So that's kind of coming through, and just kind of doing free food and wine and sampling the new releases. And I know, a lot of the wineries around here would echo this. It's been a challenging year, and the only reason you make it through as a small winery is your wine club. So we're trying to show them that we appreciate it.
Yeah, cool.
So yeah, that's the next thing, but business as usual.
Yeah, business as usual, which
Hopefully.
It's kind of good. Yeah, right. Joeli, what do you have going on? Is there anything that you guys are doing there at General Store that we need to know about?
Well, I'm really glad that we're talking today and not yesterday, because yesterday was about like unpacking 700 boxes, but this is from now until the end of the year. As everyone has said, this has been the kookiest, weirdest year, and heartbreaking, but also incredibly moving, because just like Andy said, if it wasn't for our local customers, we would not still have our doors open. And also the other people that we work with, including our incredible landlord, Nick Tompkins. But we just have felt so loved and so supported. And so instead of being terrified of this holiday season and how all the uncertainty, what we have is a lot of excitement going into it, and it's going to be whatever it's going to be. We aren't going to get to do our normal events like Elegant Evening and some of those bigger things that we do, like a Black Friday or Small Business Saturday, are going to look really different. Our biggest challenge is going to be helping people feel safe and not letting too many bodies in the door, which is the absolute opposite problem you've ever, it's the opposite of what we've ever tried to do. So we're going to do some private shopping. So people are going to have the opportunity to sign up to maybe come in on a Monday or a Wednesday morning before we open, or at night on like a Thursday night, where we'll cap the number of people in the store and we'll be closed except for those people. And we plan to do a lot of shipping in web, but we are open in store, and we just encourage people to shop early and at off times so that you can have a little bit more flexibility and fewer bodies around. So that sounds very weird, but that's what we're up to.
That's pretty cool that you guys are going to do that. I wonder if a lot of other stores are going to be doing that as well as we get into the holiday time period, because that's a pretty neat option to have. And locally, I mean, that's pretty neat. So very cool.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, good idea.
Thank you. Wasn't mine, but thanks.
Well, sorry, you can take credit on this form.
Can I emphasize the usefulness of the products at the general store? You had mentioned, Joeli, I don't like to shop, but every year I go to the general store since they've opened, do my last minute shopping. And the reason I go there is because I hate junk. And so every time I go through there, it's always stuff. It's smelly things. It's tasty things. It's like.
We don't say smelly things, Jake.
I do. They smell good. That's what my 8-year-old calls them, smelly things. But things that smell wonderful are always in the shop. I got to mention, because it's important to people these days. I hear people that come in and appreciate the fact that we don't have a lot of waste at our tasting room, and I'm seeing a lot of other people do that. Even if you're selling products, it's not a bunch of wasted packaging and plastic, and it's not junk. I hate junk, and so that's why I always go to general store every year. And they hook me up. They walk around with me when we could walk around with me and help me make good choices. So I don't, like I tell my kids, don't, make good choices. So the team at general store will usually break off from the register and walk around the whole spot and make sure that I'm getting stuff that is cool.
Yeah, we'll steer you away from the bad choices, sweetie. But we can still do that.
I know choices there, but I make. Well,
there might be a few choices you should maybe not consider for your significant other, but we can still do that. And it's our favorite thing to do. Is someone comes in and says, I have a friend and he's into wine and he's a vegan and he hates the color purple. And then we just go to town. It's really fun. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Before we're leaving, I did have one other question sneak in here. Andy Niner, stop looking at your phone and talk a little bit about your wine portfolio of Niner. Can you share a little bit with us? Because we kind of touched on it, but we didn't really talk about it. I know we got to talk a little bit to Peachy about what's happening there, but talk about your wine portfolio, please.
Yeah, it's almost the reverse of Peachy, where we were originally planted as a blending vineyard and had every varietal under the sun. And over the last 19 years of farming, we figured out, given the soil and the climate in certain parts of our vineyards, what's done well and what hasn't. So for the last 10 years, we've been taking vineyard acreage out and putting vineyard acreage in. And in Paso, for the most part, we're focused on 3 varietals, and that's Cab, Petit Verdot, and Malbec. And those 3, given our land, have been really doing well. And then we have other pieces where Syrah's doing well, but we're really focused on Bordeaux and specifically those 3 varietals.
And then your Edna Valley stuff.
And I think it's what makes Paso, to me, it's what makes Paso super interesting, because we can speak to it, but you can't cookie cutter it. There is every different, by the hillside, the soil changes. What you grow there is going to be, and does well there, is going to be very different. So I think it makes it a super interesting place to both farm and also drink from.
Yeah. And then you also have your stuff down in Edna Valley. What's different? Why are you choosing Edna Valley for some varieties versus Paso. Can you share a little bit of that?
Surprised you asked me that question, Toronto. I was supposed to not talk about that on this call. But yeah, so Edna Valley is a totally different ballgame. Once you go down the grade, you get into an east to west facing valley. And that's the start of the east to west facing valleys as you go south. And then you're influenced by that 50-degree ocean every single day, and much more severely than you are in Paso. So cool climate varietals do well there, and especially Pinot and Chard. And then we also do some runs down there that are a totally different animal than in Paso, but also turn out really well.
As well as an Albarino, right?
Yeah, we have 4 acres of Albarino. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And I would say that that's probably 4 acres more than anywhere else in California, practically, because it's not widely found just about everywhere. So that's pretty cool that you have that as well. So right on. All right, you guys, we are just about at 4 o'clock. Thank you so much, Andy, Jake, Joeli, Shannon. I want to end with, cancer sucks, but I love the fact that the cancer support community is doing so much for our local community in support and providing education and other resources out there. And thank you, Shannon, for doing that. And thank you to the organization so much. Cheers to you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah. And to the Tour de Paso, hopefully more people are able to sign up.
Absolutely. And our launch this year, because it can't be at Niner, is launching from the Radiology Associates in Templeton parking lot, which is 1310 Los Tablas. Come out and say hi if you just want to come say hi. Obviously, wear your mask and don't crowd, and don't have a fever, but be COVID smart. But yeah, just come say hi Sunday, November the 1st, because it should just be a sweet time.
Yeah. Weather's shaping up really nicely. And so we're digging it right now. This is our Indian summer, as we call it here in Paso. And so it's a beautiful time to be here. So be safe if you're coming, be safe if you're traveling here from out of the area. Yeah, let's keep supporting you guys at the cancer support community. It's pretty awesome. Hey, the next show coming up next week is going to be all about our winners of the San Luis Obispo County Wine Awards. We're going to feature them, Joe Barton and Will John and Amanda Wistrom Higgins, talk a little bit about their backgrounds, their wines, and how they all actually kind of sort of work together. It was a really interesting awards this year in how they were all so interrelated in one way, shape, form, or another. And so we're going to look into that and just have a really fun conversation and drink a little bit of wine and hang out. So thanks, everyone. Cheers. Appreciate all of you. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks.